Season 2 of the Pat and JT podcast.
Oh man, I'm here at last. The first time, always gonna be the best. Come on!
Exclusively on the Hurrdat Media Network.
You'd think we'd have this guy on a lot more than we do. I mean, he has a microphone in his bedroom, basically.
Wasn't that always the case, though?
Oh, yeah. Well, he had microphones, cameras, ladders.
It's mostly cameras.
Mostly cameras.
Rockett in the Morning's famous bedroom saddle was always there, too.
Yeah, it was.
Training crop. Do what you can do.
Oh, my goodness. So how you doing, Rockett?
I'm good. I didn't call my ex-wife cowgirl for nothing.
That's right.
Okay?
Oh, my goodness. Anyway.
You might want to cut that out.
No, probably not. We're live.
It's okay. Yeah. We're streaming live right now. It's a first. No.
Speaking of live, what do I have to do about my language? Do I need to manage it somewhat?
Nah,
You're fine.
you're fine.
Okay.
Nobody listens to our podcast anyway, Rockett, so it doesn't really
I
matter.
understand.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've been there too.
Yep.
There you go. I think Pat's mom checks in every once in a while if we forget to do one to make sure we're okay.
Oh, she already did this week.
Did
Twice.
she really?
Oh, yeah.
My mom's never done that.
Yeah, she hasn't?
She still listens to Todd and Tyler.
Yeah, well.
I cannot get her to switch. I can't. Anyway.
Way to go, Mom.
Yeah, driving their demo, man. Anyway, no, I'm really excited to have you on because you've started a new venture.
I have.
And even if you hadn't started the venture, we're always excited to have you on.
Well, that was a nice save, JT. That was
Yeah.
really, really good. That was, I wasn't going to let it go, though.
I know.
I appreciate that.
I knew the horse was already out of the barn. Damn it. All right. So tell us what you're up to.
I appreciate being with you guys anytime, any reason. So thank you for having me.
What was it? When did you first post? We'll talk about your Fast Rocket deal in a second. Your first post of the picture of you in your Joe Boxer underpants, where I looked at that, I'm like, when you posted that, I'm like, holy cow, dude, you are shredded.
Well, you know what? Here's the deal. What I was laughing at there is the Joe Boxers, and so I was looking at that picture today. I have it on the screen behind me, and when I put it up, I was going, okay, that's just really weird. So those pictures are 4 years apart, okay, and I have on the same Joe Boxers as I did in the 4-year picture 4 years ago. Which I had the Joe Boxers from 10 years prior to that.
Hey, guys love to hold on to underpants, especially if they're comfortable.
I know. I love those Joe Boxers. And I guess it's time. And I still have a couple. I have a pair on right now. But I think what I'm gonna consider doing is going to that Tommy John thing. Have you got any of those Tommy John?
I've heard they're great.
I've heard it's like a hug.
We all use a hug.
Yeah.
24/7.
That's right. But I do notice that they do look a little bit different on you from the 4 years apart, because the first one, like, you know, COVID's been rough on your boy over here too. So I have a Dickie Doo as well. But 4 years ago you had a Dickie Doo, and now your Dickie Doo's gone in the picture, the most recent one. So that's pretty impressive.
Well, thank you. You're going to have to explain Dickie Doo. I thought I covered that up rather well.
No, Dickie Doo is your belly stuck out farther than your Dickie Doo.
Oh,
And that's what
It's also known as Dunlaps.
Yeah, Dunlaps.
Your tummy Dunlapped over.
Okay.
So,
all right.
and I'm not throwing shade, because I am right. Like I said, quarantine's been rough on your boy.
They say Dickie Doo in Waterloo.
I got you.
Dunlaps
No,
in
I was,
Ashland.
It was a good transformation, and I'm quite proud of it. And I decided that that's the direction now that I'm going to go with my podcasting, because it's something that I know very well. I'm passionate about it, and it's something worthy of passing on to people and teaching people who are interested in learning how to do what I did. Because let me tell you, I decided one day that I was not going to leave this world as a fat. I just wasn't going to do it.
Fair enough.
And I was a mess. I was just a mess.
Did you have other maladies because of the weight gain that you had other
Totally.
Things that were going on.
I had a heart condition. I had a liver condition. I had type 2 diabetes, severe. I mean, when I went into the hospital, the doctor, 4.5 years ago now, he just shook his head at me and just said, "My God, how did you let yourself get in this shape?" And I didn't have an answer for him. And so they put me on some immediate medication so that I wouldn't die before I got out of the hospital.
Wow. Yeah.
And I couldn't walk more than 10 yards, and that was about for 5 years.
Was that because of pain or just winded or?
No, because of I have a condition called atherosclerosis, and that's basically hardening of the arteries. I have plaque in my arteries. And so I had that in Omaha and had to have some surgery for that. And in my heart. And then a few years later, I all of a sudden couldn't walk, and we couldn't figure out why. And that's why, it was because it was all over my body. And because of that, I just swelled up like crazy and got up to 250 pounds. You know, that picture that Pat referenced a moment ago, I mean, I had lost 15 pounds by that time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So that's not even your fat picture.
It's my fat picture, but it wasn't the worst picture.
Let's put it this way. I mean, when you reach your highest, you don't realize that's your highest.
Right. Exactly. You just want to slash your wrist and go on to the Great Divide. So I decided not to do that and give it one more shot. And a great doctor found out, oh, well, here's the problem. You have plaque all in your body, and we got to go in there and clean all that out. And so I had to have another surgery to do that, which I don't recommend, by the way. It's not fun. But then after that, he said, okay. I said, what do I do now? And he said, Rockett, you need to walk your ass off. And what happened was that I had so much deterioration from not being able to walk, literally, or exercise, that a lot of in my lower body, a lot of the capillaries and things just died, off my arteries. They just died. And so the same thing happened in my feet. So, and then that brought on, or not that specific thing, but the lack of exercise also brought on the diabetes. And the food that I was eating was just, I mean, it was like did you see The Perfect Storm? Did you see that movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was me.
What were you eating? What was your typical diet like at that?
I guarantee it's what I'm eating now. Go ahead.
He's taking
I'm taking notes. I'm going to compare and contrast.
I lived on burritos, rice and beans and potatoes and bread.
Were these fast food, or you make them at home?
Both.
Okay.
Both. I lived on the bottom scale of the food pyramid that was introduced in 1992.
Which was 92. So not even, I listen to a lot of podcasts about ways of eating. And they talk about the SAD, what do they call it? The something American diet. And it literally is SAD. And it's like, it's really is sad, because it's people who grew up in the 50s and 60s. And again, the basis of everything was wheat and all that, the breads and potatoes. Well,
the 50s and the 60s actually were pretty healthy.
Well, it's better food.
It was, but most importantly, it was because you only ate 3 times a day.
Right.
You know, you would get up and eat at, 7 or 8 o'clock. You would go to noon. You would come home from school and say, Mom, I want a snack. Shut up. You'll ruin your dinner. And then you eat your dinner, and Mom, I want a snack before I go to bed. No, it'll give you nightmares. So we just ate 3 times a day, and that was it. And so you had a balance of eating and a balance of fasting.
Activity also.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And so what I learned through this whole process, a long story short, was after I had these surgeries, and I realized that I could die or I could just get up and fix it. And I decided on the latter, and I started studying while I was walking, learning how to walk again. And it was pretty amazing. I stumbled upon intermittent fasting, and I went, this makes so much sense, because all intermittent fasting is just the voluntary postponement of eating for a period of time, right? So what happens is, when the American diet is sad and destructive, because it doesn't give your body to do and perform all the functions that it can in the way it was designed. For example, you get up and you eat at 7 o'clock in the morning. Okay. And then you're off to work. You got a hell of a job trying to get the kids ready for school, and you grab a bagel and a cup of coffee, and you're trying to get them ready. And then you finally get to work. You have that bagel working on you, which is processed sugar at the end of the day. And then, in 2.5, 3 hours, you're screaming for that again. So you grab another one at work. And then 2 or 3 hours, you're screaming for lunch at 12:30 or 1 o'clock. You go do that. And then at mid-afternoon, there's a Snickers bar down by the water cooler, right? And you grab that thing and pop it in. That gets you to dinner. And then you have your dinner. And then at night, before you go to bed, oh, man, look, I didn't realize I had that popcorn over there. And you grab a handful of popcorn out of the bag, throw it in. So you've literally had a feeding window from 7 in the morning to 11:30 at night.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And it's mostly sugar and refined carbs. It's like, and I just found it too. It's a standard American diet. That's what I was looking for. SAD.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's what kills people. And that's what almost killed me. And it's such a simple thing to adjust your feeding. First of all, you have to understand there are 2 windows that are important in your life, the 2 most important ones. And that is your feeding window and your fasting window. And you can't see what I'm doing. You might be able to see it in the studio, but your feeding window needs to be here, about this far apart, which is tiny. And your fasting window needs to be like way.
Which is wingspan.
Right.
Exactly.
Yes. And so what happens is...
Good thing about that, though, a lot of that's sleeping, too. Like, you're getting 6-7 hours of sleep. It's not like you're sitting there suffering for 15 hours not eating. You're going to sleep through most of it.
You're
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All you're doing... Fasting, intermittent fasting, is something we do every day, and is something every humanoid has done, even animals, for however long humans have been on the planet.
Breakfast is because you break the fast.
Correct.
Breakfast doesn't mean morning necessarily.
Correct. It does not at all. And so you go to bed, your fasting window your feeding window begins when you start eating, and it ends when you stop eating. And from that point on, you are in a fasting window, and that ends when you take another calorie in, or substantial above 50 calories, really.
So what's your fasting window? Like, when's your eat window, I guess, is a better way to put it.
Well, it changes every day. I decide on how busy I am, and how much of Spartacus I want to be that day. And in fact, I'm kind of loving a new nickname I've given myself, Fast Rocketus, which was who was the god of fasting, the ancient Greek god in Greek mythology. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. That's so bizarre.
Wiki's amazing.
So answering your question, so I will stop eating at 8 o'clock at night, regardless of what my window is. I try to do it at 6 or 7, but sometimes I don't get it done. So I will go from 8 o'clock, like today. What time is it now? It's almost 12 o'clock. So I will do at least a 16, 17-hour fast every day. But what I will do, depending on how I feel and what I have to do, I might go to 20 hours. I might go to 24 hours.
Have you ever done a multiple day or a day and a half?
Well, the month of July, when I decided to turn this around completely and write this book called Fast Rockett, the Beginner's Guide to Intermittent Fasting, I wanted to have something very specific that I did to really confirm all the things that I believe and have learned through personal experience. And that was, I did an alternate day fast for 31 days. Mm-hmm. Now, an alternate day fast is a 36-hour fast every other day. So basically what that means is that I ate every other day. Mm-hmm. And on your fast days, in that fasting protocol, you can have 500 calories, but I don't like doing that. And I would not, it was rare that I would use the 500 calories, but 31 days of doing that.
Wow.
And it totally erased my liver issue.
Wow,
Okay.
that's crazy.
Let me ask you too. Was it just the fasting? I'm assuming, well, I'm going to say I know my probably better idea of what the answer is, that it's the fasting and the foods you're choosing to put in your body.
Correct.
3 months ago, I eliminated sugar.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Great
to
idea.
the point of carnivore.
Yeah,
And
that's terrific.
And it's worked amazing for me.
Generally, what people do with coupling some sort of eating regimen with fasting is more along the lines of keto. You try to get no more than 20 or 25 carbs a day, and then make sure you get a lot of the perfect fats that you need, which are MCT oil and butter and coconut oil and avocado and extra virgin oil, that sort of thing, and grass-fed beef and free-range chicken are. You don't get so many great fats from free-range chicken, but certainly the grass-fed beef. And one thing that I learned doing that is that I was always very arthritic, over these past years. And what I found out was that was just a super imbalance of omega-6 acids and omega-6 fats and omega-3s. Now, fish oil is the omega-3s, right? And that's really, really good for you. The problem is, and omega-6s in balance are good for you as well. The problem is because we have a grain-based diet, it just overloads us with omega-6, and the ratio between the 6s and the 3s is 20-1 in most people. Mm-hmm. And that's where all the inflammation comes. That
was one of the first things I noticed, like within 4 or 5 days, not having the pain in my joints, and my ankles were the biggest one for me. My ankles used to like crack, snapple, pop when I'd get up in the mornings. And I used to have to stretch really good before I'd get up because I knew it was going to hurt. And right.
That's gone.
And it's gone.
That's crazy.
Sleeping all night is another thing. I always sleep well, but now I sleep really good. But the inflammation is huge. Yeah. And I think this is so. I'm just finding this fascinating because I'm right there with you.
excuse me, just a second. It's fascinating.
Fascinating.
It is fascinating.
Thank you. It is. You are a fascinating guy.
Well, I'm fast rocketers.
So, like exercise wise, and after you got to the point where you could walk without pain and all that stuff, what did you amp up to going to the actual gym or running? Are you still just an intense walker?
Well, it's interesting. Great question. When I started walking after the surgeries, I could make it about 25 yards at a time. And I managed and suffered through it and just said, okay, this is just part of the process. I now walk regularly 3 or 4 miles a day. Mm-hmm. Now, why do you walk? Well, we've been lied to. Hang on just a second.
Mm-hmm. That's all right. Go right ahead.
What?
I thought he was talking to a dog.
No, he's got his box of stuff.
Look at
this box. It's a big box. What is in that?
Another 135,000 votes for Joe Biden.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Oh my God! How'd that get under your desk?
That is so.
How did that get there?
That is
so weird. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
That's
funny.
That's awesome. When you talk about walking, though, you're absolutely right. It's like one of the best things you can do. And
Yes, well, here's the skinny on that I learned was that, see, when you take in food, it gets used immediately or it gets stored for later, okay? And when you are at rest, generally your body prefers to use your reserve energy, your body fat stores, okay? Now, it can't do that if there's insulin in your bloodstream. And what makes insulin in your bloodstream? Sugar. Okay? So, because insulin is there for one reason and one reason only, and that is to store energy as fat. So you can't burn your fat stores once there's insulin in there. So that's why we are always testing and poking our fingers and stuff, so that we keep the insulin level down through lower blood sugar, which is mostly generated through carbohydrate.
And
protein.
Right.
Protein has an insulin response as well. Fat has none.
That's what goes completely against everything anybody's been taught.
That's what they've ever totally against it.
Stay away from fat, and
because
then,
they're idiots. They
Bleeping.
don't know. They don't know what they're talking about. And I'm talking about the medical community. They have no idea. Look, diabetes is a horrible disease, and I watched my mother die from it. Okay, and it was just awful. And what happens is diabetes is characterized by very high blood sugar. So what happens is insulin is released to go take care of that blood sugar. Well, you can get so sick that the insulin says, screw you guys, I'm out of here. And so it doesn't do it anymore. That's why they give you, that's called insulin resistance, by the way. And that's why they give you more insulin. Well, insulin makes you fat.
Yep.
That's its total purpose, is to store fat. And it's just horrible to see how they treat diabetes. They treat insulin with more, or an insulin issue with more insulin. It's kind of like giving an alcoholic more alcohol.
It's
ridiculous. What you have to treat is the insulin resistance. And the way you treat that is expanding your fasting window so your body can fix that.
Because most people live on a spike all day.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
The minute they start to crash,
you nailed it.
have a bagel.
Your analysis is spot on.
Get some French fries. Drive through real quick. Just something to give you that little. The spuds will do it, man. That'll do it. But you think about why you're wanting it. It's not that you're hungry. It's because you're crashing, and your body is looking.
Yeah, makes sense
for that. Once you get past that,
it's looking for more sugar.
Yes.
And that's what fasting does, is teaches your body to, hey, look, you have about 400,000, in my case, about 400,000 calorie units of energy that I'm carrying around there when I was 250.
Right.
You have plenty of energy.
You got gas in the tank, dude.
Which sucks because you're so tired and lethargic usually when you're overweight like that, but you have all that energy stored. It sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Well, and exactly. And you can't get to it because there's sugar in your blood, because there's insulin trying to manage that sugar in your blood.
I was listening to somebody talk this week about this very thing, and he's 70 years old. And he just started the carnivore diet 7 months ago, and he'd been keto for a long time. And I'm a real fan of keto as well. But he made a comment that just really hit me. And he said, with eating and spiking and all this stuff, and he realized he needed to eliminate because he couldn't moderate. He wasn't good at moderation. He had to just eliminate. You can never get enough of what you shouldn't have.
Right. Exactly.
And you can't. You're chasing that dragon all the time because you're looking for that feeling that you got when you ate that first French fry. The rest of them aren't near as good. Potato chips, everything. But you can never get enough of what you shouldn't have.
Yeah, that's a great.
When you feel satiated and you eat a good meal with that's high in fat and it makes you feel not just full, but you feel good.
Well, here's the reason
It's
why
crazy.
that happens is because processed foods, they take the satiety hormones and enzymes out of the processed food. Do you know why? So you will eat more. You know why? So you will buy more.
It is.
So-
It's a. I tell you what. It's just a big. Oh my
It
God!
is.
For sure. Oh, it totally is.
I was so shocked to learn the things that I've learned over the past 4 years. And that's why I'm doing this. I'm writing a book and sharing people, consulting people
Well,
through the Fast Rocket thing. And we launched this past week. And I need subscribers. I want to
yes,
try to borrow from your
absolutely.
huge fan base.
I am a huge fan of yours, and the one of them that I watched was you did a couple of tests in particular about stevia and Splenda.
Yeah.
If you use either one of those products and you wonder if it spikes your blood sugar, you need to watch these videos because one of you
Yeah.
is going to be happy and one of you is not. I'm just going to tell you right now. So if you get a chance, because that really surprised me. I thought that was a great test.
Yeah. And so that's what I'm doing here this month of November is testing everything I ever put into my body and in terms of what I currently eat now. I'm just making sure there are no spikes.
Right.
I can, people can say that, well, you shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do that. They rarely don't invest their blood in it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I am all about here this month. Now, you really need to check out yesterday and today. I'm posting later today. Mouthwash.
Get out.
Okay. It
heck is that?
just blows
Right?
you away.
Right.
It blows you away what you put in your mouth and what it does to your body. Now, if you're not interested in fasting and you're not interested in that, it makes no difference. But to those of us, it's really important. And it is starting to come to a point where the medical community is going, oh, okay.
I started doing the fasting. I do roughly 16 hours. My meal window opens at 4:00. And so, but I went in to see
Nice.
my, it's been going really well. It has. And I went in to see my doctor and my blood work came back great. But then I told her what I've been doing and her eyebrow went up.
She went, what the hell is wrong with you?
And she says, well, I need you to come back in 3 months for more blood work then. And I'm like,
exactly.
It's like, what? Look at the improvement I just had by changing my
I
diet.
lost weight and everything looks
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah,
but now
yeah,
you
yeah,
looked at
yeah.
me cross-eyed like, you what?
I have to tell you that a very prominent diabetes clinic in this area, I won't say the name of the college, even though it starts with a V.
Villanova, Vanderbilt.
They literally threw me out of the diabetes clinic after 2 years, and the guy whispered to me, he said, Rockett, you need to go on YouTube, create a channel, and teach people how to do this.
Yep.
But
And then did you just
officially-
say, can you speak up a little bit, please? Because I can't understand you, sir.
Because I lost my hearing in radio.
Yeah, because I'm deaf. And then he repeated it louder.
So he said, but officially, we have to toss you out of here because you no longer need our care because you know as much, if not more, about this than we do. And because see, if you were to look at my blood work, I am not diabetic anymore.
That's awesome.
Now, if I had a Snickers bar and a piece of pecan pie 2 or 3 days in a row, I would be very sick.
Yeah.
But that's just something I have to do. But my blood work is excellent.
That's
And
fantastic.
so, and I'm officially not diabetic until that changes. So that's rare. So they can't continue to treat me because there's nothing to treat.
Hey, let me
Right?
ask you this too. You cut out sugar, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
And have you had anything that was from your old days? Like I was telling I had an onion ring from my favorite place I used to love to eat onion rings from, and it tasted awful. It
Yeah,
was so
yeah, yeah.
sweet.
Well, I tend to do that at Christmas. Okay, I tend to come. I just say, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to have fun, and I'll be sick, and I'll have
Yeah.
diarrhea for the
Right.
new year. And
Are you past that now? Or are you now to the point like, you know what? This is bullshit. I'm not going to do that to myself this year. I'm going to bring my own plate, stand by the veggie bar.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. See, that's the nice thing about intermittent fasting is that, look, you can eat.
Good point.
Eat when you want to.
Good point.
You just do it again tomorrow or the next day. It's not. See, people say this is a diet. It's not a diet. It's a lifestyle change.
It's a way of eating. It is.
Yeah. It's a lifestyle change. Here's how I eat. I eat between 2 o'clock in the evening, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and 6 or 7 at night. And the rest of the time, I don't eat.
And that's the name of this podcast,
That's right.
by the way. All right. So, Rockett, they want to find you on YouTube. Obviously, just look up Fast Rockett. And I've subscribed. Pat subscribed. You've got people subscribing.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much. But here's the deal. See, that's you won't find it if you say Fast Rockett.
Oh, because I've been there.
Because it's so new.
Yeah.
It won't be YouTube/Fast Rockett until I get 100 subscribers.
Can they search you just in the search bar?
I did search. That's how I found it. Was I typed Fast Rockett in the search bar and you popped up. Yep.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Okay,
And some people are listening to this, just they can scroll down to the show notes and we'll put a link right to your Fast Rockett YouTube
man,
page.
that would be great.
Your videos are great, Rockett. We hate to not. I want to talk to you more about this, as a matter of fact. So we may have to check back in. And go further on this because I'm right with you.
Let's just do this. Why don't you just be, see, I do these videos. I do these short, quick videos to explain stuff to people. But every Monday night, I do the podcast. Okay, so if you would be so kind, I would love to have a Monday night guest, both of you or one of you or whatever.
That'd be awesome.
And we'll just Zoom it and we'll talk about it. That would be fantastic.
That'd be fun. Be super
I would
fun.
love that. I would love that. Let's do, because I think just comparing notes, I learned so much from so many people, and I watched and watching your videos, that was stuff I hadn't seen before, and I'm just like hungry for it.
Okay, let me feed you just a tiny little bit. I know we're on time situation, but are you hip to Dr. Jason Fung? Do you know who he is?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, he is the primo educator in this space, and you need to learn him.
I found him through Dr. Ken Berry.
Yep, sure.
Is how he found, and he is right up with the intermittent fasting.
I mean,
his studies are amazing. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, I will do some more studying though, and let's talk over the weekend and see if we can't get something going.
Monday is when I officially launch the show.
Oh, wow.
The video of the beginning guide to intermittent fasting from Fast Rockett. So
good deal.
That's when that launches.
Congratulations.
Perfect. No, that's super cool.
Thank you.
That's super awesome.
Yes. Man, love seeing you. I wish you could have seen us. Sorry, we have other stuff going on. I don't know, whatever. Pat couldn't figure it out.
I don't know. Sasha's got it handled. I have no idea what's going on. Rockett,
we
you're the
will
man.
talk this weekend, bud.
Okay, babe.
All right, we'll see you later. Love you always.
Bye, Omaha. Love you. Subscribe to Fast Rockett.
That's
right
right.
now.
But do it right now. It's Pat and JT on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and then Fast Rockett on YouTube, and subscribe. Papa needs to get paid.
Pat and JT Podcast, a Hurrdat Media Production.